Okay, so good morning and welcome back to Cityline. Yep, it's the final fabulous segment. I am here with Claire Euchert. And Claire, you are here, your company, Homesteady Goods and Services.
Yep.
You are back in the house.
Yes, ma'am.
What are we making and what are the ingredients?
Strawberry, rhubarb, rosewater crisp. And you can really add anything you want to this crisp recipe. The dough is super forgiving. I just made that. That was 2 cups of flour, 2 cups of oats. We mixed that in with some butter, some shortening, and I used cinnamon and ginger in that as well. Ooh. You can add whatever kind of spices you want depending on the fruit that you're using. Like if I was doing plums, maybe I'd do more cinnamon, maybe even the 5 spice that you've talked about before.
Oh, I love 5 spice.
Add a little bit of heat. You could do cayenne or chili powder in there. So this can be kind of, melded into whatever you want it to be. And then we took these strawberries, the rhubarb, cooked that down with some vanilla and some sugar.
And wait, we got to stop for a second because I'm always about calling the good stuff out.
Yeah.
Okay, look at my hands. Let's go over and talk about the rhubarb.
Yes.
How did the rhubarb come to be?
I grew this rhubarb at our house.
Okay.
And we did what's called forced rhubarb, which is where you literally take like a bucket or a pot and put it over the top of the rhubarb when it first starts. And then it's searching for light. So it's going to shoot as high as it can go. So before I picked this yesterday, the bucket was actually tipping over because the rhubarb had grown so tall.
Goodness.
And all my other rhubarbs are like little babies still, but this guy was like, yeah, it works.
Because we also talked about forced tomatoes. And I didn't get a chance to finish, I was going to tell you, but I have lived off forced tomatoes.
I mean,
for
it's
the past
amazing.
4 summers.
Nature is the best, baby.
And I grew up in the South. I know good tomatoes, but these tomatoes are
so
the
good.
bomb.
Well, this rhubarb's delicious. I'm going to add a little bit of rose water.
Wait a minute,
literally,
that was my job.
okay, wait, I want to show you how much
teasing.
we're going to do. I'm literally taking like an 1/18 of a teaspoon of rose water. And it is so powerful.
Woo!
Yeah, if you put in any more than that, it's going to taste like soap, which is just like cilantro, what you were talking about earlier.
Yeah, it's that cilantro taste.
That's all you really need.
Okay, so I'm going to put this right here.
Yeah, here, I'll put it back on top.
All right.
And then what we're going to do is, so this is kind of cooked down. We've let it cool for a little bit because, you do have the butter and the stuff in there. So now what I'm going to do is show you exactly how much I add. So you can use any style pan you want to. These are what I use for my business.
These are,
But you could do like a regular pie pan if you want. In essence, this would be like a pie pan's worth of crisp dough for this recipe. But I take like a big old spoonful or a handful and dump it in there.
Okay, I'm going to do it with you.
Yep, go ahead. Add one in there.
So like about...
Yep, perfect. Dump it in
here, okay.
Yep. And then you start from the center and you just kind of start smashing.
I put too much in?
No, it's pretty good. It's going to flatten out. And then you kind of come around the edges a little bit.
Okay, this feels like back home in Grandma's kitchen.
It's messy and I love it.
I love this because
this is my kind of baking.
Okay.
I'm not an exact baker. I'm not a science, kind of
you heard
background.
That first on Cityline. She is not a science baker.
I just love to, it's fun to just have fun with your kids in the kitchen.
Well, okay, so you are actually so much better at this than I am.
Coming from the center, and then you kind of work your way out, and then when you get to the end, you just kind of crimp the edges around the outside.
How many hours have you been making
I make a lot of these, yeah. I do them a lot for events and stuff. And so then I've got my filling here. It's a little hot still, but you would just fill it in just like so.
Oh my God.
Boom, so right up pretty much to the top.
Okay.
And then same thing with yours.
Ooh, did you hear that?
And then, you don't want to go much further than that because as it's cooking, it's going to kind of bubble up. So it never looks very pretty. When you get done with it, it's a crisp. So it's not going to be, very fancy on the top. And then you literally,
is that good?
I know, isn't it good? And then you just take like another big handful of the crisp dough and put it right over the top. And I'm just gently kind of dropping it on there and giving it a little like pat, pat, pat,
Right.
Just like a baby's bottom.
Little pat, pat, pat.
There you go.
And are you going to cook it on the cookie sheet?
Yep, you just cook it on the cookie sheet. So we could fill in the rest of these, but I think we get the picture here.
Exactly.
So once it's in there, I like to usually hide the spots where it like has shown the filling a little bit. But yeah, you can add as much as you want on top, and then you pop these in the oven at 350. And I would say, I go by my nose. I don't really. I'd say about 35 minutes is roughly on this size.
Okay.
If you have a bigger pan, you're going to go longer. I've done these in sheet pans. I've done these in baking tins, whatever you really want to do. You don't have to have the filling on the bottom, but I designed this recipe so that you could do it in a muffin tin, and then you can actually pop them out because the tin creates that nice crispy heat to it. So then they become, their own little individual packaged crisps.
So you
with
have
the filling
made
on the
these
inside.
in a muffin tin.
Yes, and you just smash them in around the tin, fill it in with the filling, drop the top on there, bake it, and then when you get done, you can just pop them out with a knife.
And they're like the size of a cup
Of a
or
muffin.
a muffin.
Yep, dip. They look like a muffin,
Can you
but then when
freeze
you
them?
yes, oh yes, I freeze mine all the time.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, and we're showing
Yeah.
the recipe so people
Yep.
couldn't see the look on your
Yeah,
face
so
just
yeah.
now.
Well, the filling ingredients you've got there, and then you've got the crust as well. So that's all you got to do. Boom, and then you pop it in the oven to 350. So like I said, yeah, about 35 to 40 minutes is what I cooked these at.
Okay.
And so then here's your little finished product here.
Oh my gosh!
You want to give it a
Here-
try?
Yeah, I do. Do I want to
fork
give it a
for
try?
you.
Do you have any idea who you? Yeah. Oh my goodness.
And so what I love about it too is it's got that nice like crisp filling to it too. I mean the crust itself is one of my favorite parts of filling, and I've done this with any sort of fruit that you want. Really, you can add apples. You could do it with plums, blackberries, blueberries.
This is
whatever you want.
amazing.
Isn't it good?
Oh,
I know.
This is breakfast.
We had it. My girls and I were in bed last night. My husband's out of town. He's at the Masters grinding away with all of his men there. But
Hello,
we
Eric.
sat in
Listen
bed
to
last
Chris.
night without him and ate crisp in bed while watching TV. So I might have some oat flakes laying around in my sheets today.
This is amazing.
I know, isn't it good?
So, okay, so let me ask you another question.
And then a la mode, I like to
Right.
do it with a little bit of ice cream on top.
So how much of this can I prepare ahead of time
I mean-
and then put in the oven in the morning?
I would not let this sit for too long due to the fact that the filling will start to absorb into the flour and into the oats. So I would, once you make them, I pop them in. But then once they're made, you can wrap them and freeze them for up to 6 months to a year probably. I mean, I would say, any baked goods really, as long as they are, wrapped up really nicely and
Right.
they don't have that freezer burn going on, then, it's dessert, baby.
Yeah, we don't do freezer burn, do
Yeah, no, but I wouldn't care if it was this in
Oh,
my
I would-
freezer.
oh, you kidding?
I mean, maybe if it was like salmon or chicken or something, I'd be a little bit more nervous about it, but this I would eat any day of the week. But yeah, so this is part of what we're doing for the Delightful Neighborhood
Yeah,
Market.
so let's talk
It's coming
about
up.
that.
Yeah, it's coming up on the 19th of April, so just in time for any, family
Saturday.
events that are going on that Sunday. We're doing quiches. We've got both a vegetarian and a non-vegetarian quiche. I'm going to be making some sourdough Swedish pancakes there with some of our jams as fillings, and I'll also have that strawberry rhubarb rosewater crisp available for sale.
And jams and jellies.
Yeah, I just made the rhubarb mint jelly, so perfect.
Get
I always
out.
say it goes great on lamb, ham, or yams. So there you go. You can have it. And then we also did an Elixir d'Amore strawberry preserve, which has my Elixir d'Amore tea blend in it, which is pretty lovely. So,
Oh my
we're
God.
coming into spring, baby. All the flowers are in bloom.
Yeah, they
I
are.
love a good floral note to things. So this has rose, jasmine, and passion flower in it. So
And that
lovely.
is a beautiful tea
Yes.
to have in the morning when you're
with
having
your
this.
crisp, yeah.
That's right.
Yeah,
because-
breakfast, lunch, dinner, or dessert, baby. You got
I'm
yourself,
all over it.
yeah, you got yourself ready to go.
All right,
Thanks
well,
for
that-
having me.
That wraps up another exceptional final segment of Cityline.
Thank you.
God, it's always wonderful to be around you.
Thank
You bring
you.
joy, you bring texture,
Yeah.
you bring food, which is the great
Yeah.
uniter.
Love language.
Absolutely. So people go out there, be a part of this tapestry.
Thank you.
Pay it forward. And when you come back, as always, we'll be waiting for you right here on Cityline.
Yeah. See you next Saturday.